Hello, this is Joshua Hunter. I am I'm presently on the planet Earth, and I just got a couple of things I'd like to talk about. I think it pertains more to me than it does to anyone else. But you know what? I don't know if I'm so sure about what pertains to what. Anyway, the first thing is, as you know, I love trash cans and eating out of the garbage. Something very unusual happened, and I thought I should just make a mention of it, just in case it means something later on. The place, place where I get my, I am very close to a pier, a pier, and so sometimes in the morning I go check all the trash cans in the first thing in the morning, and this morning I woke up and I went through the trash can, and all the trash cans had been empty from the previous night, and that happens sometimes. But there was like one full unopened bottle of water placed in every trash can. No trash, just one bottle of water. Now some had other things, but it just like, I've been going through the trash for 7 years. I never seen anything like it, man. I never seen anything like it. And so, I mean, there were a couple of trash cans with like a smattering of empty alcoholic beverage bottles, you know, but just like random beers, like just a variety of, but just like one or two. And each trash can only had like one, but each one had, we're talking like maybe 15, 25 trash cans. And there was one, alright, maybe this isn't exciting to you, but to me, it's things are very consistent in my life, so, you know, there aren't like a lot of new things that happen. So when I wasn't even upset that there wasn't any food, because it was nice. And so so it was just one bottle of water in each one. And I didn't have any. I didn't drink any of the water. I'm not really a fan of bottled water. I prefer tap water. It just makes me feel better. Bottled water, I feel like I'm being like, I feel like someone has sold me the idea that bottled water is better. Anyway, second thing is it's been a while. So I haven't come up with any new jutsu in a while, but I have this thing that this was a part of a jutsu that I had, but I'm not gonna bring that one up because it's just, you know, you don't want it. But this is what you use when someone's like in a particularly like bad mood. Not necessarily a bad mood, but like they perhaps have become like so cocooned in their own feelings, or enmeshed, immersed in their own feelings, that they perhaps can't see clearly, and maybe they ought to, but you want to give them the decision. You don't want to say that you think that they should. You don't want to you don't want to presume that you know better than they do, even if you do. You would not want to presume as such, because there are many factors at play. So this is a question that's supposed to demand thought. It's a question that demands that a person start thinking, but it's mainly, I've never tried it, but I think it works best on, someone who's never heard it, but it also might work equally as well on someone who has heard it. But here's the question, and when someone is like in a particularly, you need to break them out. It's kind of like, not sure if you watch Naruto, but sometimes when they're stuck in some like unusual genjutsu, or is it genjutsu? And when they're stuck in some type of illusionary technique or jutsu, I could be misrepresenting, but they exclaim the word kai, which is supposed to release them from this. So this is kind of what that should be, I think. I haven't worked on this. I'm just kind of putting it out there, seeing if anybody... Anyway, so the question is... Does fossilized gremlin jizz get Jurassic Park back online without Dennis Nedry? And the answer is, And, this is supposed to be something that's something that should be in such contrast to whatever the present mood is. I tried to think of a question that you could not match it, like a question that could not be matched to any other situation. I guess in a comedic situation you wouldn't, but I think in any serious situation, any heavy-handed situation or feeling or whatever, it would be a kind of startling or even a jarring thing to hear. And I think some people, if they're, So anyway, when you want to just kind of, if you believe that someone should shift perhaps their perspective a little bit, you would use this. It's not intrusive. You're not being demanding. You're not saying, well, why don't you think like me? You just, you say this, and then they'll have to think at least somewhat different than what they're already thinking. So once more, the question, you could do just a question or the question, or the question and the answer, and it's does fossilized gremlin jizz get Jurassic Park back online without Dennis Nedry? And I believe that this is something that I think it should work. I mean, at least once on somebody, just to get them, just make them think. Like, hey. The third thing is I want to just be honest. Very often people will ask me for a lighter or for a cigarette or drugs or whatever, and usually I go into this rant or routine about, well, if you have been, how long have you been smoking? Why don't you have a cigarette? If I were a writer, that type of thing. If I were a writer, I'd carry a pen, but you don't see me going around asking people for pens because I'm a writer. That's what I do. So if you're a smoker, why would you not have, the tools of your art? And anyway. So, but I have been inconsistent. I noticed, and I just wanted to bring this up so that so I don't say this to every person. Sometimes it depends on where I am. Like if you ask me for a cigarette or a lighter or anything within like a half a block radius of the Fairmont in Santa Monica, then I'd be much more willing to acquiesce I won't give like a whole speech about why I should. I'll just do it because I don't know. There's something, and I'm very kind of I don't know. I'm just very in favor of the Fairmont, and I think that's what it's called, the Fairmont in Santa Monica. It's like a. Anyway, I'm partial towards it, Oh, fuck. No, I didn't. Alright, anyway. Okay, so, anyway, so what happened was I was walking past the Fairmont, and actually I was just walking just past 800 degrees, and, forgive me, I mean no there's no reason to say that. And this guy, he comes up to me, he's like, hey, do you have a lighter? And I'm like, I'm about to go into my spiel or whatever, and then and I look at his clothes, and he's like, he's like a doctor or something, and I was just, for some reason, I was so, I guess something similar to the word emasculated, I couldn't, obviously this man has studied, 12-something years to hone his craft, and for me to lecture him about, well, why doesn't he have a lighter? It just seems so, uh, it seemed like such an impotent effort to communicate a concept. So I decided not to, and I said, yeah, because I actually do carry, I do carry a lighter. I don't smoke anything, but I just like, it's an electronic lighter, electric. You can charge it through USB, and it's just like a little lightning bolt that, But anyway, I found it very comforting, and you might find this strange, but I thought to myself, I can think of probably about 100 million situations where anybody would choose this guy over me. Like, it was such a clear, what I thought about the contrast, because he wasn't just a doctor. He was like, like let's put this guy in a magazine, or like, well, let's put him, on some type of, when you look up the word doctor in a book, like this is what this, like people traditionally think as a successful, man, and just by comparison, because the thing that I did just before I offered this lighter, or before he asked me, I picked up for some reason I constantly find like the little canisters that they have to hold the bags used for dog poop. I find this often. It's like it's like in the shape of like a little cinnamon roll or something. And I find these often. I just picked one up. A little plastic container that contains the rolls, the plastic bags for picking up dog poop. And what a contrast! Like I'm picking up, this guy's saving lives, and I'm just like, picking up the containers that pick up dog poop, and I can't even. And I'm gonna try and lecture this guy on why he doesn't have a lighter. It's like it's absurd. It's absurd. Anyway, what made me comfortable was, sometimes it's like people can't make decisions. They just won't. They won't be like. They won't just do a thing straight. Just like say a thing in a plain way. They won't just. Anyway, when they, it was such. I could see, like, I would know. It was such a clear choice. There's so many people. It's like, would you rather hang out with this guy, or would you rather hang out with this guy? And I could just see, like, they would always choose this guy. And it made me just kind of happy to know that that something was so clear, because there's so many clouded things these days that they're so difficult to understand. There's so many consequences. Like, what choice is the right choice? Which way is the right way? How do I be as efficient as possible, as effective as possible? How do I make sure that my emotional and moral compass is true and unerring? And it was just nice to know, to put it simply, like, if you lined up like 8,000 straight women and said, fuck this guy or fuck that guy, I'm pretty sure 8,000 straight women would say, oh, we're gonna fuck that guy. And it just made me so comfortable. Like, I don't know, just to know that, like, it was such a true thing, like, such an honest and, like, true thing. Like, I could depend upon it. There's so many things that ended up not being dependable. Like, you couldn't, like, ideas and concepts and social structures, and they all, like, fell apart. But this one thing, like I could just, like, I could see it in his eyes, I could see it in my eyes. Like, they will always want to fuck this guy instead of me. And it was so comforting. Just the stability, like, just, like something in my life is true. Is what I'm trying to say. Something in my life, is kind of unalterable, and not like, I hope that I've communicated clearly. I do not want to. I do not want to be misunderstood. Unless I have to be, I don't know why I would. Anyway, it was nice. So that's those are the things that I wanted to say, and so I did. And thank you very much for watching, and thank you very, very much.